Advancements in the medical field are giving nurses faster, more effective results than ever before. They should expect the same from their education, too. Capella University's game-changing FlexPath format allows you to set your own deadlines and leverage your experience to move faster through your program. So the faster you move, the more money you save. When you're ready, we'll be here. Visit capella.edu for a trial course at no cost to you. Capella University. Don't just learn smarter.
The Cricket Badger Podcast IPL Daily, in association with Moonrise Cricket, Indian Premier League 2020 13th edition. Every day, every game, every spill, every thrill, every triumph, all the way to the IPL trophy.
Hello everybody, welcome along. It's another Cricket Badger IPL Daily Podcast, and we've seen another corking game today. Rajasthan Royals coming out the victors against Chennai Super Kings. We'll talk a little bit about that in just a minute with our guests, because we're also looking forward to the next game in the competition. KKR, Kolkata Knight Riders, are playing the Mumbai Indians, and I have three guests on this evening. Two of them are KKR, and one of them you'll have heard before on the first podcast. We'll introduce him first. Anand, Bhika, welcome back to the show.
Hey James, really excited to be on the show. IPL has started and the first few games have all been very exciting, so we're off to a great start.
It's been fantastic, hasn't it? We'll come back to I've got one question I want to ask all three of you, and if you've been watching the WhatsApp group that we've got, you'll probably know what it's going to be. But let's introduce the KKR guys for the first time, because it's the last of the teams that we're going to see in action in IPL 2020. And we'll start with Naman Shah. Naman, welcome to the podcast.
Hey James, thank you so much for having me here. Pretty early Diwali in India.
How have you enjoyed the IPL so far? Obviously KKR have not been involved yet, but we've had some good games, haven't we?
Absolutely, it's been thrilling so far. All close games, even today also. I guess they did not get the early start in the first 5 overs. Murli Vijay and Watson had to fire a bit earlier, but early they tried to capitalize, but it did not go their way.
And our other KKR guest this evening, and he's been telling me how to pronounce his name, and I'm going to get it horribly wrong, Ritabrata Maitra, but I'm going to call him Rito. Rito, welcome to the show.
Hi James, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How have you been enjoying the IPL so far?
Yeah, I've been enjoying it pretty well. All the 3 matches until today have been pretty nail-biting. I thought today's match was one-sided until Fab du Plessis started to go berserk.
They left it too late, Rito, didn't they? You know, you look at the CSK reply, obviously Jofra Archer's late assault and Sanju Samson at the top of the order, fantastic for Rajasthan earlier on. Got the feeling that Faf du Plessis and MSD maybe took 10 balls too long to get themselves going today.
Yeah, Fab du Plessis was way too slow in the beginning until Stephen Fleming came out from the dugout in the strategic timeout, and he looked quite animated in the chat. And then he changed his bat and went berserk. And MSD, we know he's not the same MSD anymore, really.
That was the question I was going to ask you, is MSD still worth his place in this IPL? Because anybody who takes so much time out of cricket is going to lose the pace of the game a little bit. Is MSD, we'll go to Naman with this one first. Is MSD still worth his place in the IPL purely because he is MSD, because he's a poster boy and because he's a very good tactician for CSK? If he was just a normal player, would he have gone by now?
Absolutely, James. He's no longer what he was, but I also heard what he said in the presentation after the game. It was really a tough time for him. He was out of cricket for more than 400 days, I guess. This is the first time he's batting after so long. And also they had a few leg spinners in them. He also did that against Mumbai. He promoted Sam Curran today also in that match also. So he's just trying to give youngsters opportunity. Also he's trying to deal with himself. He'll take time definitely. His captainship is the most important thing what Chennai needs right now. Also they do not have Raina. Also Raidu was not playing. So they do need right now. It's not only about his batting. His leadership talks more.
Anand, what's your view on MSD at the moment? He's obviously been a fantastic player for India. He's been one of the very best of all time. But his powers are waning, aren't they? But he's still a master tactician. And you can't help, if you're a CSK squad member, to look in the dugout, see MSD's face and be inspired by that.
Absolutely. MSD is a legend. Powers certainly wane with age. However, I'll point to the 2018 IPL. I think the previous two IPLs before that, Dhoni was striking at about, 135 in 2016 and 116 in 2017. Come 2018, we saw a revamped Dhoni. And I think he scored 450 odd runs at almost a strike rate of 150. So I come back to it as it might be a slow start, but if Dhoni is able to challenge himself and is able to actually bring back the Dhoni of 2018, he certainly would be very valuable to any side. His captaincy, without doubt, is great. You actually saw that in the Mumbai Indians first match, the Mumbai Indians versus CSK first match, how instrumental he was with his strategy.
One man, Anand, that wasn't shy with hitting some sixes today was Jofra Archer at the end of that innings for Rajasthan. 27 of 8 balls, including 4 sixes on the bounce at one stage. Because one of those balls was a no ball, I was actually thinking, is he going to be the first man to hit 7 sixes in an over here? But that wasn't quite to be, but it was still some fireworks from him, wasn't it?
Absolutely. But, Jofra is also sort of warmed up. He played for England, was absolutely a gun player towards the end of the English leg of the ODIs and T20s. So you knew that he was ready to go. And the way he was swinging, I thought a couple of the balls could have gone and hit it out of UAE straight to China. So it was a lot of very entertaining batting.
Naman, Sanju Samson, should he be India's wicketkeeper batsman? He played beautifully today. It was as clean a hitting as I've seen for some time. Some of those sixes, he just stroked them away. It's beautiful.
Absolutely, James. I have been his fan since he has been promoted up the order. He has opened several times for Rajasthan Royals as well. And the most important thing is he hits all over the ground. It's not just cover drives or straight batting. He has all the shots in his books. He knows when to hit, who are the targets, which bowler to hit, and he hits it clean, and he's a clean hitter. Also, technically, if you see all the cover drives, all the leg glances, he has that technique in him. He just need to be developed, especially right now when MSD has retired. He has a very good chance to come back in India team. And also, Pant is good. It's a very tough competition between them, but I'll always prefer Sanju Samson over Pant any day.
Rito, last comment on the CSK against Rajasthan Royals game. On the tournament, really, it's a very close tournament, this one. We kind of previewed it ahead of it. Obviously, you kind of think about Mumbai, you think about CSK. We were making cases for Delhi Capitals. You look at Sunrisers, you look at Royal Challengers Bangalore, etc., etc. It's a very level playing field, this IPL. Any one of the 8 could really win it, couldn't they?
I will tell you one thing. At the beginning of this game, I had Rajasthan Royals second favorite from the very go without Buttler. But you never know in IPL. That's why it's the best T20 league in the world. Anyone can defeat any team on their day.
Want to get your game the very best it can be? The future of coaching. Talk to a pro. 30-minute video conversation. Video analysis from players at the top of their game. Video shout-outs. Get a personalised message from a pro. Great for birthdays, congratulations messages, a prank, or a simple hello. Visit moonrisesports.com or go to Moonrise Sports on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. Moonrise Cricket. Let's play. Kolkata Knight Riders. We'll move on to the game against Mumbai Indians. We'll get to Anand in a minute to see how he's faring after CSK beat Mumbai in the opening game of the tournament. But Rito, Brendan McCullum, Dinesh Karthik at the helm for KKR. Safe pair of hands. Are you excited about the forthcoming KKR matches?
Yeah, I'm very excited with Brendan McCullum coming back into the coaching setup. And Dinesh Karthik last season, I will tell you one thing, he looked a bit lost with the captaincy. Now this year, KKR have purchased Owen Morgan, England's World Cup winning captain, and that will help them massively. That will help Dinesh Karthik in the captaincy a lot.
Naman, Andre Russell, most valuable player, MVP of the tournament last year. I think he was the same in 2015. Because he was just ridiculous. He was hitting 666 all the way through, pulling KKR out of some real holes and winning the matches on his own. Is it unreasonable to expect him to do exactly that again, or has he got those powers? Are we going to see that similar type of play from Andre Russell this time around?
Absolutely, he and Narayan both will be very important players for Kolkata going ahead in this tournament. But one thing you see on these pitches, especially in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, the pitches are quite a bit slow. So they'll have to choose their bowlers. They'll have to wait for the correct deliveries to be bowled and then go for huge sixes. You saw what Hardik Pandya was doing in the first match itself. It was not nicely coming off to the bat. He was trying to whack every delivery. So he'll have to construct his inning. He'll have to wait till the end. He'll have to choose the bowlers. But yes, both these players are really very important, especially Andre Russell, and they are pretty warmed up coming into this tournament. They have had a good CPL in their own backyard, so that's the biggest advantage for KKR. All the players, especially Cummins as well, Morgan as well, all are pretty much warmed up. They are really going to give it tough to everyone.
Rito, some of the young players in the KKR lineup are pretty exciting as well. You've got obviously Tom Banton as an English import, who's a youngster that obviously in the country I live, very excited about Tom Banton. But Shubman Gill as well towards the top end of the order. He's a young Indian talent who has got plenty to offer KKR, hasn't he, this time around? So some of the youngsters are going to really make their name.
What I was hearing after last year's auction is that KKR might retain Tom Banton without even playing him for a single match for the mega auction next year. Or they might use the right to match card for him. So that's how high they rate him, really. And KKR really have a really good set of youngsters coming in. And that's where they are going to give it a real go this year, I think, which Shubman Gill give the player to watch out for.
Naman, they've splashed the cash, haven't they, KKR, in the auction this time around? Pat Cummins going for $3.17 million. That breaks the record for a price for a player in the IPL. The only thing with that is that they bought him thinking they were going to play most of their games at Eden Gardens in India, which does give pace bowlers a bit more of a chance. Playing in the UAE, do you think they'd have spent that much money if they knew they were going to be in the UAE? Would Pat Cummins have maybe commanded a bit less of a price?
More than that, James, they always need this experience. They also have Lockie Ferguson in their squad. But one player which I'm really looking forward to is Varun Chakravarti. He was bought by Punjab last year. Though he only played one match, he was bought for 8.94 crores. Pat Cummins brings experience along with him, so he'll be the one guiding all the bowlers around him. Also, there are young guns such as Nagarkoti, Shivam Mavi, Sandeep Warrior, all these are young guns from the domestic cricket. So all the bases are covered, and obviously in the middle order, Owen Morgan will be leading the troops, and in the bowling department, Pat Cummins will be leading the troops. So they have that seniority around them, and the rest of the players just need to follow them.
Anand, back to you with Mumbai Indians. When Surya Kumar Yadav was out to the last ball of the 11th over against CSK, it made Mumbai 92 for 3. They were still looking at a big score there. They didn't get enough on the board in the end, did they? And it was one of those games where it was a little bit topsy-turvy. Mumbai were in the advantage. CSK fought back. CSK got ahead. Then Mumbai fought back. But Mumbai will be disappointed with that performance, won't they?
I definitely think that they'll be disappointed with the performance. I think the key word that comes to mind is execution. All that rust that's accumulated from not playing cricket on a continuous basis sort of showed up in that first match. You could see that Bumrah was off from his links. Bumrah is by far one of the best T20 bowlers in the world, and you could see how he was not exactly operating at prime at his usual consistency. And you could probably say the same for all the batters. So I would take a look at even Hardik Pandya. Didn't exactly look as crisp as he typically does. So the key for Mumbai would be, they've done this before. Mumbai typically does not win the first match, but really the key for them now is to focus on execution.
We have talked about the even years as opposed to the odd years, and Mumbai win the tournament in the odd years and don't really get so close in the even years. I know that's just a number, and obviously there's no rhyme or reason to that, but Mumbai are notoriously slow starters. Is it a cause for concern?
I don't think so. Just taking a look at where they're playing. So if you look at the three grounds that are going to be in the rotation in the IPL, you have Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, and Dubai. Abu Dhabi, where Mumbai Indians are going to play 8 of their matches, is the slowest of the lot. If you look at the overall totals that are scored there, again, that's going to be the lowest of those three grounds in there. Mumbai comes in with a very experienced core of folks there. A lot of these players are highly experienced, have played around the world, and I think they should be able to deliver as we move forward. If you even look at the pitches right now, They aren't exactly spinning a lot. They probably well towards the latter part of the competition. But right now, if you look at Mumbai's core and look at that pace attack, that's arguably the best pace attack in the IPL. So I still think there's plenty of hope. I still think that Mumbai should be able to execute and do well in this tournament.
Looking ahead to tomorrow against KKR, Anand, who are you most scared of in terms of the KKR lineup?
Well, if you look at the KKR team, the one word that comes to mind is explosive, right? So if you look at Russell, Owen Morgan, Cummins, Narayan, and then even look at the two other overseas players who might be possibly up for selection, Banton and Lockie Ferguson. All of them are super explosive, whether it comes to batting or bowling fast. If you look at that Indian core, again, you get that same feeling. The bowling attack, while it does have a lot of untested pacers, all of these guys, Shivam Mavi, Nagarkoti, Prasidh Krishna, Warrior, all of them are capable of bowling high pace. They're just untested. So from a Mumbai standpoint, you definitely want to be cognizant of that. Use the ground to your advantage, use the pitch to your advantage, and really execute.
Rito, come across to you from the KKR's perspective. Looking at Mumbai tomorrow, who would scare you in terms of KKR's progress in that game?
Well, over the years, if you look at KKR Mumbai Indians, it has been one team that has had the wood over KKR over the years. They have played some 25 times against each other, and KKR has won 6 of them. Mumbai, if you look at their middle order, Hardik Pandya, Krunal Pandya, then Kieron Pollard, who had a fantastic CPL, some of the games that he won with the bat over there, and then Bumrah with the ball, he's just devastated, really, with the ball.
And Naman, Rito's exactly right in terms of Mumbai having the better of the match down the years. But in a way, Mumbai have just come off a defeat against CSK. It's early stages in this tournament. Is this a good time to play Mumbai when they're still cold and haven't got used to winning yet?
To be honest, James, Mumbai are very much used to play in their own den, which is Bankhade. They like coming ball onto the bat. They like to whack it out of the ground. So the major important thing for Mumbai Indians is to capitalize in the first 6 overs. Then it will be up to the middle order, which I think only Surya Kumar Yadav has a better technique to capitalize on it. But Krunal Pandya and Tiwari, they'll have to up their game. I totally feel that KKR is going to love Dubai. They are going to love these pitches. They love these lower decks. They love scoring, low scoring games. They can defend even 120. They have all the guns in their squad. So I think it will be pretty hard for Mumbai Indians. They'll have to really pick up themselves and they'll have to really play well to get ahead in the tomorrow's game.
You'll know, guys, and the other 7 fans on the podcast so far have done their minute about why they think their team is going to be a real force at IPL 2020. There's obviously 2 of you, so I'm going to toss a coin to decide which one of you actually does this minute. So stand by. I'll let you call, Naman, heads or tails?
Tails.
It's a head. Rito, you have a minute to tell me why Kolkata Knight Riders are going to be a real force in IPL 2020. Why are they going to win it? Go.
Well, I will start with the starting 11. Kolkata Knight Riders has one of the best starting 11 in the whole of the tournament. And last year, one of the areas where they were a bit short was the bench strength. And this year in the auction, they have strengthened the bench strength and they're ready to go. Then they have, as you mentioned earlier, that they've revamped their backroom staff and they have added Baz McCullum and Simon Katic, who have served them so well in the previous years. And then lastly, I would say, to support Dinesh Karthik, they have added Owen Morgan's leadership this year. So there's no doubt that they're going to be a real force in this year's IPL.
That was 40 seconds, Rito. So 20 seconds. We're going to do a baton. Over to you, Naman. Is there anything to add to that?
Absolutely. Moving ahead in the tournament, the pitches are really going to be slow. So really looking forward to see Kuldeep Yadav, Sunil Narayan, Varun Chakravarti, which I'm talking about, is another mystery spinner from Tamil Nadu. Also, Chris Green, no one is looking up to him, but he's a really T20 specialist. He can bowl in power play overs. These are really good spinners. Every team needs to look out to these players, Sunil Narayan and everyone. Also, in first 6 batsmen, Sunil Narayan and Andre Russell gives them 8 overs. So they have this added advantage to play more batsmen. Maybe promote Siddesh Lad, which is another youngster, along with Shubman Gill in the top order. So they have all the ammunitions to fire. So I'm really backing this team this year to win this IPL.
I'll tell you what, Rito and Naman, you've done a fantastic job tonight for KKR. Anand, just before we go, any changes expected in the starting 11 for Mumbai? Do you think they'll go with the same side?
I think it's a fairly subtle squad. The one change, or there are a couple of changes that might possibly occur. While Tiwari did well, Tiwari is not super explosive. Ishan Kishan is a bit more explosive than Tiwari. So I wonder whether that is something that the Mumbai Indians would take a call on. The second part is Coulter Nile might also be very useful because he could provide a bit with the bat, as well as Coulter Nile has a very decent IPL record. So there might be a toss-up between Pattinson and Coulter Nile. But ideally, if the Pacers mix up their length and their speeds better, as well as somebody from the middle order takes on this untested KKR Pacers, Mumbai Indians should be in good spot.
Anand, Bhika, it's been a pleasure to have you back on. We'll speak to you again as the tournament continues, but until then, enjoy tomorrow's game.
It's been an absolute pleasure, James.
And Naman, it's been fantastic to have you on for the first time. You and Rito have done KKR credit this evening. Thank you for coming on, Naman.
Thank you so much, James, for having me.
And the same to you, Rito. It's been great to talk to you as well. Enjoy tomorrow's game, Rito, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Yeah, pleasure has been mine. Thank you for having me.
And thank you everybody out there for listening in your increasing numbers as we go through the IPL 2020 daily podcast on the Cricket Badger podcast. Stay tuned and we'll be back with you tomorrow.
Thanks for listening. Join us every day throughout IPL 2020. Follow us on Twitter at cricket_badger. Join in the fun. We'll see you again tomorrow.
You've worked so hard for all the things you have. The salary, the status, the success. And with that image, there's a drink. One to unwind, one to loosen up, one to take the edge off. But how do you know when a drink is more than just a drink? We get it. We can help. Karen's Grandview program has been helping accomplished people just like you regain their lives. Talk to us. Visit karen.org/Grandview.